One of the most closely guarded secrets of the Cold War was America's role in supporting Afghan warlords known as the Mujahideen. The official story is that America backed these fundamentalists in response to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in December 1979. But that's not true. It was 6 months before the Soviet invasion, in July of that year, that President Jimmy Carter authorized $500 million to help set up the Mujahideen, a terrorist organization. The American people were completely unaware that their government, together with the British Secret Service, MI6, had begun training and funding Islamic extremists, including Osama bin Laden. Out of this came the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and September the 11th. Soon after the Taliban came to power in 1996, the administration of Bill Clinton backed a secret plan for a pipeline through Afghanistan from Central Asia, which has vast reserves of oil and gas. The Taliban were offered a generous cut in the deal and secretly invited to Washington and Texas. They were treated royally, taken shopping and flown to tourist attractions like the NASA Space Center and Mount Rushmore. Their tour was so secret that no television news covered it. Most Americans knew nothing. By the time George W. Bush came to power, the link between Al-Qaeda and the Taliban was an embarrassment, and September the 11th gave Bush an opportunity to get rid of them. Today, Afghanistan is run by a regime installed by the Americans, and the pipeline deal is going ahead. September the 11th also presented an opportunity to an influential group who, even by Republican Party standards, were extreme. Ray McGovern is a former senior officer of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and a personal friend of George Bush Sr., the president's father.
The same people who are running U.S. policy now are people that the president's father kept at arm's length. They were referred to in the circles in which I moved when I was briefing at the top intelligence and policy levels. They were referred to as the crazies. The crazies. I mean, you talk about the crazies, everyone knew who they were. Richard Pearl, Paul Wolfowitz, Doug Feith, those folks.
The crazies also include Donald Rumsfeld, seen here in Baghdad in 1986, warmly greeting Saddam Hussein, who was then being armed to the teeth by America and Britain. This is one of their blueprints, published in 2000 by the extreme right-wing group Project for a New American Century. The US military will fight multiple simultaneous wars as the cavalry on the new American frontier. The principal author is William Crystal.
The problem with America is not that we go around marauding around the world imposing ourselves. The problem with America in the last 10, 15 years since the end of the Cold War, really in the last 60 years, is that we've been too slow to get involved in conflicts.
Outside America, people have worried about the United States conducting an unprovoked attack on a country, a sovereign country.
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Really? They're worried we're going to attack Britain, France, Germany? Any democracy?
No, because...
Any decent regime?
No, the United States doesn't usually attack strong countries.
Do we attack decent countries?
No, I said strong countries.
Well, I was asking decent countries.
I don't know
Are
what you
people
would
really
call,
worried the U.S. is going to go, a decent, law-abiding country, and the U.S. is going to come in and say, we don't like the look of you, we're going to depose you? Is that something the U.S. has done quite often? How many countries has the U.S. attacked in the last 15 years?
Well, since World War II, there have been 72 interventions by the United States.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
That's ludicrous.
Well, it's not ludicrous, it's true. These are some of the countries where the United States, directly and indirectly, has overthrown governments, manipulated elections, and attacked popular movements since 1945. Bush's war on terror is just another brand name replacing the Red Menace as justification for a systematic aggression. This is well documented. Yet it remains a kind of secret history, seldom reported in the West as a war of terror. Take just one decade, the 1970s. September the 11th, 1973, is not an anniversary many of us remember. On that day, the United States helped engineer the overthrow of the democratic government of Chile. More than 30,000 people were killed, including the elected president, Salvador Allende. In Southeast Asia, American bombers killed hundreds of thousands in Cambodia and Laos. In Vietnam, the United States sprayed a chemical poison called Agent Orange, a weapon of mass destruction. Today, its effects still cause death and birth deformities. In Indonesia and East Timor, America's backing of the dictatorship of General Suharto led to as many as 1 million deaths.
The U.S. government multiplied its aid to Indonesia as the slaughter in East Timor was occurring. Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. The United States ranks pretty high, unfortunately, in supporting leaders and governments that brutalize their own people.
Last year, the Bush administration released its national security strategy. Behind the jargon of the war on terror is a new message that America intends to stand alone and dominate by threat of force.
It reminds you, I think, of the days of the 50s when children were told to go under their desks because an atomic bomb might hit them or something. I mean, it's just ludicrous what's going on. And the whole twist of dragging Iraq into the war of terrorism, the axis of evil, all of this fundamental sort of rubbish, you might say, is part of the political games that have been played by Bush, given the opportunity that 9/11 presented to him and his regime and the survival thereof and the future thereof for the next election in 2004.
Today, the United States has 152 military bases around the world. These include bases at major sources of energy, established under cover of the war on terror. The U.S. military calls this full-spectrum dominance.
We don't really give a damn what anybody thinks. We rub everyone's face in it. We're Americans and you're not. And we're talking the Roman Empire here. I mean, we'll do anything we want to do, anywhere we want to do it. And you're either with us or against us. And multilateral institutions like the UN are incidental and irrelevant to the powers that be. That is the image we're sending to the world. That is what much of the world feels about this country right this minute.
We cannot accept, and we will not accept, states that harbor, finance, train, or equip the agents of terror. Those nations that violate this principle will be regarded as hostile regimes.
How ironic are Bush's words, because thousands of known terrorists are to be found in the United States living beyond the law. Last year, Amnesty International confirmed the presence of thousands of torturers given safe haven in the United States.